Well, there's a lot of brawling going on in TFT right now, with the spirits and shades of the hunters who win basking in the moonlight. Yes, we did just put some of the best current traits in a sentence. Sorry, but then again, not sorry, since there's even more traits that do well. So, let's explore. Hey everyone, and welcome to another ProGuides TFT video. Today, we're going to be talking about patch 10.20's must-play comps and why they've been so successful. Make sure to play these comps when you can, and you will definitely rise in rank. As with every top comps list, getting the top comp will not guarantee you first place, but it will give you a high enough chance for a top 4 finish, netting you that sweet, sweet LP. Positioning, items, and scouting are still your most important tools in this game, working together with your comp in order to give you that shiny first place. In this video, we will talk about each comp, a general playstyle guide, look at items they use and their positioning. There's still about a gazillion comps that are good, and we only have 3 spots here, so we're grading for consistency. Make sure to check the end of the video, because the honorable mention list will be long. Before we dive in, I just want to let you guys know that we have a Discord community and a new subreddit that is growing really fast. We have you to thank for that, and we want to continue building our community and helping you be a part of it. Make sure you check the link in the description below. With all that said, let's dive right into our top comp for 10.20, and it is Ahri. Remember Gangplank? Well, he's gotten much prettier. Even the itemization is similar, and Ahri is just as flexible and easier to build. She fits so many variations, with the top ones being Vanguard, Mystic, and Spirit, but you can use her as an add-on or attack speed steroid for various other comps. Ahri is obviously a 4-cost unit, so you don't immediately start with her. Thank you, Lilac Galaxy, for not being a thing here. You can start with a TF carrying her items, but she really needs Guardian Angel, so you can have pretty much anyone carry that in the early game. It would be best to get an early and relatively powerful Chosen, give them the Ahri items, and go through the early game that way. The version you can play also can depend on that very initial Chosen. For example, if you get a Garen or a Thresh Vanguard Chosen, it would be a decent idea to go for Vanguard Mystic Ahri, with the option of going Dusk due to Thresh. That way, you open up a lot of good options. Remember to keep a copy of the Chosen you get at that point if you want that champion to be in your comp for whatever reason. You will almost always sell that Chosen in an Ahri comp, probably around level 7 or even level 9 to try for that legendary Chosen. Your leveling pattern should remain fairly quick. You do not really roll with this comp outside of a level 7 roll down to 30 gold or so if your scouting tells you that Ahri is really contested. If she's not, you can delay the roll down to level 8. Stabilizing at 7 is a good idea, but you might not need it, depending on the comp you have crafted up to that point. This is a comp that can start win streaking in the mid to late game, often allowing you to get to level 9. Ahri 3-star is almost never an option since she is quite contested, so it would be best to 3-star other units around her if you get the chance. If you're playing the Spirit version, for example, and you got attack speed and healing items, 3-starring Zed might be the option. Ahri is less of the superstar of that comp, but she's often itemized, and there's even special positioning for her, as we'll see in the positioning part. Ahri is a really good pick that doesn't need Mage to fit into any comp, and with just another Spirit, she can give a useful attack speed steroid to your team. You won't regret drafting her. Ahri comps have 2 basic positioning sets, or rules if you will. The first is making use of the attack speed steroid on Ahri and generally requires a GA. Similar to GP in set 3 or Sejuani now, if she starts her cast while in the GA animation, she will complete it normally. So you put her in the front line. This is really well used in this comp, where the spirits are used to buff the sharpshooters and Ahri staying up front gives a huge attack speed buff since the attack speed gain depends on the mana cost. Putting her in the front line is not as much for the damage, though it's certainly helps, as for the huge attack speed buff to your sharpshooters in this case. The other Ahri comp versions are more traditional, looking like this. This is the Vanguard Mystic version, a more traditional frontline backline comp. Finally, you got the Spirit-oriented versions, especially with Shade, that go for a full backline and rarely itemize the Ahri at all, hoping she gets a cast off while the others die off. Itemization is really flexible here, outside of Guardian Angel, of course. In any comp she's a part of and is worth itemizing in, Ahri without Guardian Angel often gets exploded by assassins or Zed before she casts, even if she has Quicksilver. Blue Buff and Shojin are also decent on her, but the second best items are Jeweled Gauntlet or maybe Rabadon's Death Cap if you're feeling like a lot of damage. Be careful, building double Jeweled Gauntlet is not bugged anymore, so it's a bit weaker and not really abusable anymore, so not much worth building it. Let's move on to our next comp. Aphelios got a lot of nerfs coming out of PBE, but with some buffs in his arsenal, arsenal, get it, because he's got a lot of guns, never mind. Aphelios has become a terror in 10.20, especially since the comp is fairly Chosen agnostic, preferring, of course, the Moonlight Chosen. If you get a Moonlight Chosen, this is pretty much the comp to play. Obviously, getting the Aphelios Chosen with either Hunter or Moonlight is the dream, but you don't really have to. This comp was a bit underrated in 10.19, but with the buffs to his 4-star form and the other Moonlights that support him, the comp's early and mid-game has improved a lot. Diana actually being a unit now helps in the early game, where you should be grabbing any Moonlights you get. Your Go Signal to Moonlight is getting components for Guinsoo's Rageblade and Quicksilver, or both. They're both core items for Aphelios, and without them, he will struggle to win, but can still do well. Unlike the general Moonlight comp, you actually level to 6 or even 7 as quickly as possible with this in order to slow roll for Aphelios and Silas if you have him. The big difference in playstyle comes in playing this without a Moonlight Chosen. It opens up a lot of possibilities for extra traits, with Hunter being fairly strong if you have enough frontline, Brawler to pair with Silas, Spirit for even more attack speed, and so on. There are multiple options, and playing without Moonlight Chosen usually means that you go through the usual 2 to 3 Chosen switches in the early, mid, and late game. Remember that Chosen breakpoints happen at level 5, 7, and 9, so those are good indications of when to buy or switch Chosens. Once you get the 3-star Aphelios, level up as quickly as possible. There are no other units that you want to 3-star as badly. With the new changes in rolling chances, you will have a good chance of getting Silas at level 8, which is where you will usually end up if you do well with this comp. Simple positioning, just put Aphelios in the corner, give him Quicksilver, and put stuff in front and around him like this. The units aren't necessarily those. This is an example with a Moonlight Chosen. Silas is usually the best option because it allows for some frontline. Aphelios wants Guinsoo's Rageblade, Quicksilver, and Guardian Angel. You can forgo the Guardian Angel and he'll still be strong, but the other two are pretty core. Besides him, try to get as many tanky items as possible, or support items like Zephyr. If you have Diana, giving her Sunfire and throwing her at the opponent's backline is a really good strategy to get through the early and most of the mid-game. Well, you asked for it, here she is. We wanted to give you ninjas here, but if we go with consistent, Ashe Brawlers has to be it. Even though the new Veigar has a lot of bullets with their name on them. In the early game, you mainly play the Brawler collection game. If you get Sunfire Cape, you're gonna have a good time early, given Brawler beefiness and Sunfire damage. Being a power level comp, you have to make as decent a board as possible and level quickly. If you're fighting recurve bows, you can give them to a Zed and have him carry you until you find Ashe, or maybe even the buffed Vayne or Jinx and use Sharpshooters as a backline damage option. This comp really likes a few specific Chosen, not necessarily champions, but traits. Elderwood, Brawler, Hunter, and perhaps Spirit on a Kindred are preferable. You can definitely succeed with others, but these make the comp a lot more playable and even forceable. The comp has lost a bit of popularity, though it still remains strong, so similar to the Ahri comps, you might have to roll down at 7 for an Ashe to stabilize. The comp really relies on set, however, so in most cases, you want to go to level 9 and 2-star him. An interesting tip for this comp that really gives you a huge win condition, besides 3-starring Ashe, is to actually be stable enough to sell your Chosen at level 9 and hunt for a Chosen set, or any strong forecast of the traits we mentioned. Don't do this if it makes you a lot weaker though. This comp is super similar to the Aphelios in terms of positioning, but with more nuance on the offensive part. Unlike Aphelios, Ashe isn't your only carry, so you have to keep moving set to put him in a good position, as well as position Ashe to try and attack the right target first. The standard hide your carry in a corner positioning is the norm, but you can move your stuff around like this standard, positioning your set away to dunk into the opponent's front line, then go do some pull-ups due to all the damage he's taking. Be mindful of your positioning and you'll do well with this comp. Ashe wants Quicksilver, that's it. She scales well with many items other than that, chief among them Giant Slayer and Guinsoo's. Infinity Edge, Bloodthirster, Last Whisper if you're facing Vanguards, even Static Shiv can be strong options for her. Other items you can give to another Brawler and Warwick. One of the most optimal tricks is to itemize your, for example, Maokai with Sunfire early, then keep another Maokai in bench for when you find Set. Then you can transfer any and all items to Set and he will do the rest. Don't worry, he's the boss, he can do it. That's it for our must-play comps. Without further ado, let's move into the honorable mentions because there are so many good comps right now. Dusk. This is still really good, with 3-star Riven being the true win condition. Getting to her got a bit harder in 10.20, but it's still doable and the comp does quite well. Cultists are still excellent, but with a worse early game. Galio is pretty paper now, amazingly so. Looking at how small the nerfs were, their mid and late game, however, remains as strong as ever. Sharpshooters are still really strong, even though Jinx got a bug fix that was kind of a nerf. Same items in the new Spirit/Sharpshooter comp seems pretty OP. Ninja Assassin is so fun. We seriously debated this for the third comp, but there's not enough data about its consistency yet. Don't hesitate to play it though, as the different ninjas cover most itemization options, and Shen is super strong, so the comp is really flexible. That's it for this video. We will be uploading every week on Wednesday and Sunday. Thanks so much for watching, and make sure to check out our TFT content on YouTube and our high ELO coaches on ProGuides.com. If you have any feedback for us, comment below and we will be happy to read what you have to say. Now get out there and farm some LP using the must-play comps you saw here today.